loud, isn't it? All right. Well, firstly, I wanted to thank the Oxford Union for inviting me here today. What we've heard over the last hour and a bit has been a lot of myths about feminism. And like many of the other speakers here today, I had some problems with the original question, are we all feminists now? Because at least two of the terms in that phrase are up for debate. Not only feminism, but also we. Who are we? Is it we in this room? Is it somebody else? But feminism, we have heard a lot of myths about that today. So I want to address the question of feminism being about hating men. Which we heard from the honourable member over here, which is a lazy reduction to stereotypes and also incredibly offensive not only to women but also to men. As a feminist, I have been a feminist since I was about 9 years old when I accidentally stumbled across a copy of The Female Eunuch in a bookshop, which had been on my mum's shelf, which had been misshelved, and it was the start of a long and weird understanding of what gender and politics meant. As a feminist, I believe in many things, but not. I don't believe that whether or not you hate men is a question for politics. What feminism is about is something far deeper than individual hatred. We're told that the personal is political. Let me come back to this question of man-hating. What we've seen after the main speeches happened was a few young women come up and say, well, I'm a feminist, but I don't hate men. This is what we're meant to say now. We're meant to say, oh, I'm a feminist, but as Rose said, I shave my legs. I'm a feminist, but I don't go too far. I'm a feminist. Maybe I'm not a feminist at all. Maybe I believe in the ideals of equality, but I don't want to be associated with that word. Feminism sounds like it's not nice. It sounds like it's not angry. Words have power. The reason the word feminism has power is because the concept has power, and the reason it has power is because people are still afraid of it. Feminism has not yet achieved all the aims it set out to achieve in the 60s and in the 70s and before that. Not just equality within a system designed, built and run for men, but equality within a system that we haven't even envisioned yet, a system which is totally different from the one we're living in right now. We heard about women in boardrooms as if this is some magic symbol of how equality should be. Personally, I'm a revolutionary socialist. I couldn't give a damn about boardrooms. I think we should get all the women out of the boardrooms and all the men out of the boardrooms. Thank you. So that we can then set fire to the boardrooms, possibly with our bras. That didn't actually happen, by the way. The honourable member, I can't see where he's sitting, but he was absolutely right to say that the bra burning is another myth. And I'm absolutely, for somebody who went to Oxford University...
I saw them being burned.
Really? Really? Where?
Here.
Here? In this room?
I'm sorry. Just a bit before she was born, but they were burning the bras. I tell you they were.
In this room here?
And I watched the bosoms drop. It happened.
You watched their breasts
drop. It wasn't a good thing to do.
Would you sit down? Thanks. Sorry, I don't really know what that was about. But I don't believe that feminism is about hatred at all. But I believe that feminism is about taking a stand against certain things, about taking a stand against sexual violence, economic violence, psychic violence, inequality done towards women. What I hate is patriarchy. I hate, and which is a word we haven't heard today yet, I hate the rule of men over women, and I hate anybody, male or female, who believes that that is a status quo which should continue. And how offensive to men to believe that feminism, that is all a man can be. That all a man can be is somebody who believes in patriarchy, who believes in the furtherance. Thank you. I think we've seen young men and women here today who prove that that's not the case. And actually, I'm not very good at debating. I was actually, I was thrown off the school debate team because I used to cry. I used to get too into it. especially when people ask me about topics that were close to my heart like this one. So please watch me. I mean, if somebody has a tissue, because this does matter a lot to me, and this is why I've never actually been in this room before, despite going to Oxford quite recently. I want to come to this question of we. Who are we? What does it mean to say that we are all feminists now? Because I think when the Oxford Union considers a question like this, we mean us. We mean this room and people like us, people who are ambitious, people who expect to be in the top 10 to 1% of global society, either now or in a few years. People who are members of the Oxford Union or are invited to speak at the Oxford Union, lucky enough to be invited to speak at the Oxford Union. And what does it mean for us to say that we're feminists? Well, one of the reasons I wanted to speak against the motion was I agree with the speaker who actually stole my point and can sue me afterwards about it for any reason he likes, really. I believe that if we say that we are feminists, we have missed the point of what feminism is about. Feminism is not about an identity, about saying it's all fine. We're feminists because maybe some of us can be equal within a system. We're feminists because for 50 years women have been allowed to be members of this society. Well, is that a measure of social progress across the world? Is it really? Can we say we're all feminists now because, for example, maybe in a few years women will be allowed to be members of the Garrick Club? Fantastic. Well, personally, I don't think that that is the measure of what feminism is. Representation on the upper echelons of society. We now have this ridiculous debate over whether women can have it all. Actually, at the dinner before this, I talked to a couple of young women who are already wondering how they're going to balance family life with their very big ambitions for what they're going to do when they leave Oxford. This idea of what can you do can we have it all, where it all is marriage to a man and babies. That's apparently all we're allowed to want now. That's the standard. I think a few years ago there was a kind of feminism and a kind of political imagination that allowed us to want more than that, different to that. That it was all right not to want to get married, not to want to have babies. This idea that the most important thing a woman can ever do, not a man, a woman can ever do, is to hold a child that she's given birth to. Actually, this is why I'm not good at debating, because when I heard all of you guys applaud when the honourable member said that, I felt a bit sick and I had to go out of the room. Some of you might... Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. No, but really I did. Some of you saw me leave and I was like, I actually didn't know if I was going to come back in, because I thought, wow, this is what this debate has come to. People applauding at such reactionary, disgusting sentiments. How far have we not come that in one of the most privileged rooms in the world, people here are going to be powerful in the next few years. We are applauding the idea that this is the highest, most important thing a woman can do. And then I came back in, and I'm glad I came back in, because then I heard very young people saying things about feminism that I haven't even got to yet in some cases. People making, of both genders, all genders, making such wonderful, powerful speeches about what feminism means to them, and I thought, all right. Over the last few weeks, it's not just people in this room who've given me hope. I've just come back from Cairo, where I did some reporting in Tahrir Square. I am a reporter, I have a hat. This is my reporter's hat. You get one, actually. But they don't tell you about that when they're doing the media talks, but you are all given a hat. I wear mine. But I was in Cairo reporting on the fight back against sexual harassment on the streets of Egypt during the revolution. And I met some very, very brave women and men who go down to Tahrir Square and they protect women from sexual assault. And that sexual assault is happening, it comes from the police, but it also comes from people who are members of the revolution which swept Mubarak from power and which is now standing against the Morsi regime, the Muslim Brotherhood. The week before I'd been in Ireland and I'd been reporting on the fight back against the Catholic Church's clampdown on women's right to choose. Abortion is entirely illegal in Ireland, and there are right now Catholics, well I think they've probably gone to bed now, but God, let's go to bed early. That there are right now people from the religious right standing on the streets in Dublin saying that women should be forced to have children they don't want, even if in the delivery they will die. That is where the debate is, somewhere very, very near to here. This isn't somewhere very far away. These things are connected. There is a global backlash against women's rights, against women's sexual rights, against women's economic rights. It's connected to austerity. It's connected to the neoliberal fight back against economic freedom, and it goes right up to the top, because saying that we are all feminists, it's not we're all feminists now. It's not just feminism is happening on the streets in Cairo and Ireland, but it's also a fight right here in a place like Oxford University. If you look at statistics, and again, I find statistics can be slippery, they can be misleading. But if you look at the staff and students here, on undergraduates, it's roughly equal. The differences start coming in when you look at who gets firsts and who doesn't get firsts. Academic staff, 25% female. Professors, 9% female. Professors in maths and science subject, 3.6% female. Up the top, again, almost nobody. That's the world we're living in right here. If we think that we're equal, if we think that even equality, Germaine Greer said, if you want to be equal with a man, you lack ambition, right? But we're not even there yet. Sexual violence happens at Oxford University. Discrimination happens at Oxford University. Rape happens at Oxford University. I don't have statistics on that myself. I only have anecdotal evidence because 5 years ago I was raped at Oxford University. I don't know, and again, subjects close to my heart. I feel that the personal is political. When I was at Oxford very, very recently, I experienced discrimination that shocked me. I was told in tutorials that I shouldn't write on women's subjects in certain papers because that was a surefire way to get a 2-1. Instead, I took the tutor's advice in that case and I didn't write about women's stuff, and instead I developed an interest in whiskey and I got a 2-1 anyway. So, so there you go. I think that the idea that we are all feminists now is a joke. If we accept that we are all feminists now, that is complacency. Telling ourselves that because we might be okay, maybe the biggest questions in our lives will be, can we afford a nanny? Sorry, may I have some water? What? I went to Oxford, sorry. If maybe the biggest questions in our lives will be, will we get to the upper echelons of the city or the media or wherever our careers will take us, or maybe we will be stopped from doing that because we want to have children. If we think that those are the biggest hurdles and maybe we individually will overcome them, then we are kidding ourselves. We're kidding ourselves about what feminism means and what feminism is for. However, I've been thinking during this debate, and I've been listening to the speeches given by members from the floor and the speeches given from my own side. And partly because I am unspeakably angry with the previous speaker on my side for treating feminism and women's rights like a joke. Thanks. I don't think it's a joke, so I think it's really serious. Partly for that reason, I actually think you should vote for the motion. Because I refuse to respect a system in which that is okay, in which we can clap politely at some of the most misogynistic sentiments I've heard from people in public life in quite a long time. Thanks. And I also think that a vote has social significance. Votes in this room have social significance. Whatever happens in this debate, you're going to write about it in the Cherwell, maybe it's going to be covered somewhere else. And I'm thinking about the women right now who are thinking of applying to universities like Oxford. And I don't want them to read in the paper that the Oxford Union has voted not to be feminist. I don't think that's a very good idea at all. I think that the previous speaker for the opposition was absolutely right. I think we do need to have hope. I think we need to act in a hopeful manner, and that doesn't negate our anger. Anger is vastly important, and I don't care if saying that I am angry, if saying that we are angry and saying that we are feminists upsets people, all right? I don't have any desire to appear nice. I think we're too frightened of appearing aggressive, of upsetting people, of damaging our careers, damaging our social standing by admitting how massively fucked up things are. I'm sorry, am I allowed to swear in here? I don't care if that is somehow uncouth. I don't care if it's somehow out there and outrageous to say now. I think we should be saying, not that maybe we're not all feminists now. I don't believe that we're feminists yet, but I think we should be. So because of that, and because I'm deeply, deeply depressed by the previous speaker on my panel, I think you should vote for the motion.